Good morning, dear students of class 8. Welcome to the English online learning class. Today we are going to further take up the lesson, the Comet, part 4. So Dattadda had discovered a comet, and his discovery was also recognized by the Indian Institute of Astrophysics. This made Dattadda very popular. Dattadda was a very simple person, an introvert, and he did not like this publicity. He also wished at times that he had not discovered the comet because it gave him unnecessary publicity which Dattadda disliked. His wife also wished that he had not discovered the comet, but with a different reason. The reason was she felt that comet bring ill luck, and she felt that as her husband was associated with it, it might bring some bad luck to him also. Dattadda tried to tell his wife that there is no relation between appearance of comet and calamities on the earth. He tried to tell her that even an MA degree education has not helped her to come out of her superstitions. So let us continue further. In the spacious dining hall of King's College, Cambridge, the butler whispered deferentially in the provost's ear and handed him an envelope on a silver tray. The provost beckoned James and passed on the envelope, saying, "It seems you are wanted urgently in your room." So the scene is the spacious big dining hall of King's College, Cambridge, and butler, he comes and he whispers something in provost's ear, and he gives him an envelope on a silver tray. The provost, he calls James and he gives the envelope to him, and he says that you are urgently wanted in my room. As he made his way towards the beautiful building, James opened the envelope and it contained a brief note. So when he read the envelope, it was like this: "Dear Dr. Forsyth, the bearer of this note has been instructed to bring you to my office in London tonight. Please come without delay. I am making arrangements for your overnight stay in London. I regret the inconvenience caused to you and request you to keep your visit strictly confidential. Believe me, it is absolutely essential." So this letter was written to James Forsyth. And he said that the person who has brought this letter, this note to you, has been asked to bring you to my office in London this very night. And you must come without any delay. Arrangements for your staying will be made in London. I am regretting the inconvenience that is caused to you, but do not inform about your visit to anyone. And it is very necessary. Our meeting is very necessary. And this letter was written by John Macpherson. The signature carried the designation underneath. Who was John Macpherson? Defense Science Advisor, Her Majesty Government. A bowler-hatted man near the mantelpiece greeted him as James entering his sitting room. "I am Johnson, sir, security officer at Whitehall." He showed his identity card and continued, "I presume you know why I am here, sir." So Johnson was the security officer who had brought the letter. He was a security officer at Whitehall, and he had been sent by John Macpherson, Defense Science Advisor to Her Majesty government. To the extent that is conveyed in this note. This is what Dr. James Fawcett said. He knew that it would be useless to ask Johnson for further details, as Johnson was not the person who would be knowing as the meeting between James Fawcett and John Macpherson was to be secret. It won't take long. Johnson Ford Contina brought them to Whitehall in less than 90 minutes. So, Johnson and Dr. James Fawcett, they went to the Whitehall in the Ford Contina of Johnson, and it took 90 minutes, not even 90 minutes, less than 90 minutes. It took them another 10 minutes to reach the chambers of Sir John Macpherson. Having introduced James to Sir John, the quiet but efficient Johnson slipped out, because it was a secret meeting. So Johnson left the room. Dr. Fawcett, my apologies for this imposition on your time. So John Macpherson said, I am sorry, I have just asked you to come without delay. To avoid any further delay, I will come to the point right away. Sir John handed him a typed script. He showed him a typed script, John Macpherson. Then, why, it is my paper to Nature. James said, this is my paper. To the Nature magazine. How did you get this original manuscript? He asked John Macpherson, how did he manage to get the original manuscript which James Fawcett had written for Nature magazine for publication? Sir John saw his anxiety and continued, Taylor, the editor of Nature, is a friend of mine. So John Macpherson said, I got it from Taylor, who is the editor of the Nature magazine, and he is a friend of mine. I had asked Nature to publish it without delay, since it is very important. James looked puzzled. James said that I had asked him to publish it without delay because it is very urgent. I agree that it is important, so important in fact that it must never be published, that this is what you say is correct. So John Macpherson said that it is very important, it is so important that it should not be published. If you feel that whatever you are writing is correct. James would never have tolerated aspersions on the accuracy of his work. He was not a kind of person who would tolerate such harsh remark about the accuracy of his work, or the implied order that it must be suppressed, that it should not be published. But he knew Sir John to be a respected scientist and was willing to hear him out. Please do not misunderstand me, Dr. Fawcett. I met Taylor today at lunch in the club, where he showed me your paper. I still retain enough interest in astronomy, you know, and he asked for my opinion before sending it to a professional referee. I immediately realized that your result has profound implications if it is correct. He said, Taylor, I met him today at lunch. He showed your paper because I am interested in astronomy. He asked for my opinion before sending it for further publication and opinion of a professional referee. But when I read it, I found that these results that you have shown in your paper, it is going to have very deep implications, consequences, if it is correct. Let me assure you, Sir John, that it is correct. I stake my reputation on it. James could not contain himself anymore. So James tried to tell John Macpherson that whatever he has written is absolutely correct. Do you realize what will happen if Comet Datta collides with the Earth, as you predict it will? John Macpherson said that, do you realize What is going to happen if Comet Datta is going to collide with the Earth, as you have predicted in your paper? The effects will be catastrophic. That is why I have taken extra care to verify my calculations. Barring rare circumstances, the collision is inevitable. James was confident, but Sir John picked up one qualifying phrase. What are those rare circumstances? Well, it might collide with some asteroid before reaching here, or it might just split up near the sun, or it might evaporate. He said, I know that if Comet Datta collides with the Earth is going to be finished, except for some rare circumstances. Like if the comet might not collide if it gets split up when it reaches near the sun, or it might evaporate. But one can't count on these fortuitous circumstances. We have to proceed on the assumption that Comet Datta will collide with the Earth. Cometary collisions are expected to occur once in 10 million years, but now we know that the next one will occur in a year. So, this is what Sir John was trying to say to James Fawcett, that we cannot count on such favorable circumstances. Comet Datta, if it collides with the Earth, it is going to be the end of Earth. 10 months to be precise. So in 10 months, everything is going to come to an end on Earth. Thank you for the correction. Do you realize we have only 10 months of survival left for the entire living species on the Earth? Don't you think we have to do something to stop this? So, this is what Sir John Macpherson was trying to tell James. A fleeting smile crossed James' face, just like a civil servant, as if we are facing here a minor breakdown of law and order. He thought to himself aloud, how, may I ask, can we prevent this natural catastrophe? So, Sir John Macpherson was talking like a civil servant, as if it was a problem of law and order, whereas this problem was a natural catastrophe, Comet Datta colliding with the Earth, and nothing can save it. I don't know, but we have no option but to try. I think we need more than 2 brains to handle the situation. It is essential to call an urgent meeting of experts from all over the world to think of a countermeasure of course in total secrecy. Think of the panic if the world and this dreadful news leaks out. Sir John glanced at the manuscript in James' hand. My suppressing this paper will not hide the truth, Sir John. Sir James said, there are others who will arrive at the same conclusion sooner or later. No, do not suppress it, but tone it down. And many ifs and buts to make our conclusion appear not so certain. I will exert all my influence with friends in other countries to make them exercise a similar restraint. For how long? Until this wretched comet is safely out of the way. Let us spend some time now to plan the details of international conference. Shall we call it in a week's time? A week to plan such an important secret conference of international experts? James thought it is an impossible task, but Sir John disagreed and began to spell out the details. So it was decided that they are going to call an international conference of experts to discuss how to save Earth. And in the meantime, they are going to publish the article, but they are going to tone down the probability that Comet Datta was going to collide with the Earth. We'll stop here and we'll continue with the remaining in the next class. Thank you.